So according to the Pew Research Center, black Americans are more hawkish against illegal immigration than white people. I warned these so-called fake white allies that if you don't start addressing the issues of the black community, that you was going to start getting this. But no, what happened? You gaslit us. You said, oh, just take in all these people instead of us taking it into our rich, white, well-to-do neighborhoods, which many of these so-called allies don't do. But then as soon as we don't want these people into our neighborhoods, bringing all the problems, bringing the siphoning of resources, and suddenly we are the bad people. And black Americans, we just sick of that. We don't even care no more. And as the article here, written by Ann Brown from Mogadum Nation is pointing out, there's a trend. You want to know why? Let me give you a prime example. In Chicago, prime example, you have Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson. Brandon Johnson has been told that for the longest time, the black residents there, and he's black himself, have been suffering. There's been a lack of resources given to the black homeless people there. There's been a lack of resources given to the black schools, given to the black public parks, the black libraries, many of which have been closed down. And then some of them were reopened to house migrants. Okay? You have Brandon Johnson there who is spending ridiculous amounts of taxpayer dollars. Like prime example, you have translators there, you have people there who are working there as nurses who are making more per hour than a freaking steel worker, making more per hour, on track to make more annually per hour than a petroleum engineer. All right, because that's what happens with the government. Same thing happened with the freaking military. You know, you bring in a bunch of contractors over to Iraq and Afghanistan and you overpay them. You pay them more than your actual soldiers. The same thing is happening in Chicago. You are importing nurses. You are importing people who are translators. You are importing people who provide essential services. Instead of hiring local residents there who are mostly black, you're bringing people from other communities and paying them these ridiculous rates. So not only are you not providing resources to the black residents there, right? You are trying to import voters, all right? Or stick to this crazy psychotic policy of just importing people into the black community. And we have spoken time and time again. Stop. But no, what ends up happening, because people think that the black community has to take everyone else's problems. Because we're seen as less than. The so-called fake white allies, you know what they will tell people like me? You're a bigot, you're a bigot. How many of these people are you taking into your communities? Huh? Fake white ally? How many? How many? Because don't even fix your mouth to lie, because I've been to Vermont, I've been to Washington State, I've been to Oregon, I've been to North Dakota, South Dakota, I've been to Montana, I've been to Idaho, I've been to some of the whitest states out there. And do you want to know what I don't see? A bunch of migrants like I saw in damn Chicago. So all these fake white allies, I'm sick of you. Sick of it. Done. Because I see that some of you are just you don't have the ability to be honest about the issues. What you do is you play this stupid game of attack the black person because you think that's going to give you some kind of advantageous, some kind of freaking advantageous advantage against us and making a point. It doesn't work anymore. Do you not see that? And what we're noticing is that it's not even the black Republicans. It's the black Democrats. Like in Chicago, I assure you, there is not a whole slew of black Democrats running around in freaking Chicago. But what are black Democrats there saying? Have you been listening, fake white ally? Have you even been considering what we've been saying? No. You want to know why? Because you see us as the acceptable risk. Anytime someone has to suffer, you see us as the suffering party. That's why the fake white allies who say, "Oh, well, maybe reparations can be something other than doggone cash." The same white allies will justify us sending the money to Israel and Ukraine and have nothing to say that we gave money to the Japanese, to the Italians, to every other group, Native Americans, every group who's been aggrieved, except black people. And you're fine with that because we are the acceptable sacrifice. That's why. That's why these numbers don't mean nothing to the fake white ally. That's why when I say this, you'll say, "Oh, you got a problem with Hispanic people." It doesn't matter who it was that you're rushing into black neighborhoods. We're going to have an issue with it. And then on top of that, while we're on the issue, since you want to go there, fake white ally, what about the LA City Council? You saw that yet? What about all the deputy gangs, the police gangs, some of which are Latino male led? I've done the research. Foremost expert on the freaking planet on that issue. I've done the research. So it's very fascinating how nobody wants to talk about all the racism and anti-blackness you see coming out of the Latino community. Nobody wants to talk about all the anti-black racism that I've seen left and right, all of it. And I've made videos. I made a point to point it out every time I saw it, and it became a freaking national headline. I made a point to point it out. You wanna know why? Because the same fake white allies, they're not crying for Haitians to be rushing to their communities. They have no problem with Joe Biden kicking out Haitians. In fact, in 2022, do you realize Joe Biden kicked out to 20,000 Haitian? I'm gonna say that for you again. In 2022, Joe Biden kicked out the 20,000th Haitian. Why aren't they being flooded into black communities, huh? Because they ain't black. So they won't have a pro-black thought. See, you're letting in these other people because you think they have a camaraderie with white supremacy. Like the Nuri, like for example, the Nuri Martinez with the LA City Council, or the deputy gangs, or the oath keepers who happen to be white. For example, Stephen Rhodes, his mother is Hispanic. Enrique Tarrio, anybody? See, that's the whole part that they don't want to explain to you. They want to project us as the bigots, and yet for some reason, we've been the most inviting, the most charitable, and yet when anti-black racism pops up from these other communities, no one has a damn thing to say. It's just, well, everyone faces discrimination. Yeah, but not everyone is facing discrimination from the same communities that you're being flooded with. So I want the fake white allies to take this whole video and everything as a wake-up call. We are sick of your crap.